Today on the Ask Brady Show, we talk about the best platform for church plants to grow. Well, hey there, Pro Church Nation, and welcome to the Ask Brady Show, episode number 30. We've got 4 great questions from the people of Pro Church Nation, and I'm joined, unusually, to my left, you're right, it is Alex Mills.
True it is.
That's what Roxanne says.
It's true.
The man behind the cam, the editing wizard himself, Joe Nex. And the man with the microphone, Alex Mills.
Thanks. It's not really.
You know, the whole intro is ruined because you are here. Roxanne is on vacation this week, and so Alex is filling in exactly 12 hours before he boards a flight to Iceland because we are taking the drone to Iceland.
We are.
It's quite the thing. But that is an aside. We are here to answer questions from the people of Pro Church Nation.
Right.
And so, Alex, take us away.
Well, the first question is a video question from Oscar.
Hello, Brady and guys at Pro Church Tools. I am watching you while exercising my brain and my body at the same time. So I have a quick question for you guys. Let me take advantage of the moment and wanted to ask you, what would you do if you were a church planner, a pastor starting out with a small group, 15 people, 25 people, and apart from having your social media accounts and being constant with them, and Facebook accounts, Instagram, all that, what else will you do? Where will you invest first to start growing in marketing? Thank you guys for all that you do. This is Oscar Carmona. Bless you.
Well, thanks for the question, Oscar. Hope that you enjoyed your workout. When it comes to growing, the absolute best channel to invest your money when it comes to marketing and growth is Facebook ads. In a moment, I'm going to jump in on how to do that and why it's the best. But one thing that is super important, especially for startup churches and church plants, is that if you're not at the place where you are comfortable and know beyond the shadow of a doubt, and this can be difficult to self-assess and be self-aware of something that you love and is so close to you, if you're not in a place where marketing is actually going to be a good idea because your church, and in this instance, we're going to use marketing terms, your product is not yet good enough. So that was a roundabout way of saying that if your product is not yet good enough, no amount of marketing is going to be helpful, and you might lose and will lose the one chance that you have with the people that you do market to. So for instance, to kind of say that I take my own medicine with Nucleus right now, Nucleus is not open publicly for you to sign up. So if you want to join Nucleus, guess what, Alex? You can't.
You can't.
The reason is because we're building out Nucleus to all that it can, should, and will be. And when it is at that point, then we'll reopen publicly for enrollment, and then you can join Nucleus. We're not spending any money on advertising. We're not spending any money on growth. We're spending every last dime, many dimes. Many dimes we are spending on Nucleus, building it internally before we reach out externally. So I'm not here to judge your startup church, your church plant, Oscar. Only you can do that. But the optics of being a church of 15 would suggest that you are more likely to be in a place, just because you're at the beginning stages, where marketing and growth might not be worth it yet. Now, I understand that this is a difficult tension, right? Because you're a small church, 15 people, only giving so much, I imagine. And so you're like, well, I want to grow, but to grow, I need more people. And so this can be a tough dilemma, right? So there's a tension there, and it's a line that you need to walk. Let's get back to Facebook ads for a moment. Let's say you're convinced, no. Just because we're small, like, what we have is amazing, and we know that people need to be connected to it. If that's the case, Facebook ads is the absolute best way to grow any type of product, service, church, organization in the world right now. Why? Because it has the audience. 8 out of every 10 American adults is on Facebook. The attention Facebook has is unmatched. Not only is it unmatched by anything else in the marketplace right now, but it's unmatched pretty much anything in history. We've never seen this type of attention on a single platform. If you look throughout history and think about what we used to have, advertising on a major network like NBC would be amazing, right? The money it would cost would be insane. You would never get 8 out of every 10 Americans watching that ad, but you have access to them like that on Facebook if you so chose. The second reason Facebook is the best is because it has the data, unmatched and unlike anything else we've ever seen. You can target people based on if they like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
Probably don't need to if you're growing a startup church, but you could. Maybe that's the type of church you're all about. You know, my people are the PB&J people. You can target based on geography, interests, like down to the nth degree. You can target based on other pages that an individual likes. You can target based on income bracket, gender, like everything you can target based on, because Facebook has more data on us than any of us would care to admit. But in return, they've given us the greatest ad platform in the history of the world, which helps. Third reason why Facebook is the best platform for this is the affordability. The probably only other best way that you could advertise is in a place where every single person's attention is, like the Olympics or the Super Bowl, where, you know, everyone's watching. Super Bowl would probably be best because the Olympics span multiple weeks. Super Bowl, if you could afford an ad there, it'd probably be maybe as good as Facebook because the attention there is unmatched. But the running 30-second ad spot, I think last year was north of 3 million, right? Maybe you don't have that as a startup church. If you do,
just maybe.
Maybe you don't have to ask me a question. Point being, Facebook ads is the best because the people are there and the attention is there. You can target people very, very specifically to find your PB&J people, and you can also do it affordably. You don't have to spend a ton of money to see results. In fact, I just got a message last week from a member of Pro Church Nation saying that they were investing $5 a day into a Facebook ads campaign, and they didn't think they were seeing too much traction from it. They were running this campaign for someone else on behalf of them, and this person came to them and said, "We've had 3 people sign up." And he was like, "Oh, is that good? Like, I know that you've been like papering the neighborhood with flyers and doing all types of mailers and everything." She's like, "No, all 3 came from Facebook. Let's pump that budget up," because that's how amazing Facebook ads is. Now, there's a lot of intricacies with Facebook ads. Facebook has no problem taking your money if you don't use it wisely, right? Facebook is going to do everything they can to get you to click the boost post icon, that button. You know, that's not worth it. You want to go into the Facebook ads manager and you want to do this strategically and smartly. But at the end of the day, Facebook ads is going to give you the platform that's absolutely the best when it comes to affordability, attention, and specificity when it comes to targeting who you want to target. But then the next step from there, think of it as a 3-step process. Is my product, Reed Church, worth marketing? 2, which platform? Facebook, for those 3 reasons. Step 3, how are you going to find the intersection between what you as a church can offer and what people in your city community value? Because if you just come out of the gate on Facebook and be like, "Our church is awesome, you should come check us out," someone scrolling through their Facebook feed who's trying to see their friends and family and see what's up with the eclipse. It's a little bit late for that. Yeah. This is before the eclipse. If we all die, who knows? You've got to find the intersection between what they are looking for, what they care about, and what you can actually offer them, right? Like, you're listening and asking the Ask Brady Show a question because this is valuable to you in some way, because we're answering real church questions from the people of Pro Church Nation, and that's valuable, right? And then from there, maybe you sign up for Nucleus. We're finding the intersection between what I can offer you, which is knowledge on church communications, and what you value, answers to your questions. You've got to do the same thing for your actual community. And if you're looking for additional resources on this, we've done a couple of Pro Church Podcast coaching edition sessions that have been great. If you look just for Startup Church, Church Plant, we've done a couple with them. We've talked about Facebook ads for startup churches and church planters. Go to the Pro Church Podcast feed, prochurchpodcast.com, and we spend a whole hour on this. Yeah. So this is kind of like the introduction. If you want to do a deep dive, check it out over there.
Okay, we have another video question.
Another video.
Yeah.
Another one.
Another one.
And this one's from Dale.
Hey, what's going on, Brady? My name is Dale. I'm outside of Wrigley Field Stadium here in Chicago with my sons. I've got a question for the Ask Brady Show. My question is, what do you do to capture stories so frequently? And then how do you tell them so frequently as well? Thanks so much. From here in Chicago, my sons, we'll see you soon.
Dale, thanks so much for the question. Pretty timely that you were at Wrigley when you sent in this question, because the Blue Jays played at Wrigley Field for the first time in 12 years this weekend.
Yeah, it's incredible.
My friends drove all the way from Alberta to see me, and then drove all the way to Chicago from me to see the first game with their 1-year-old, his first ever baseball game
at Wrigley Field.
Jays got swept. But I heard that the Chicago fans were incredibly graceful. They were putting together like cards, and they were having like they had flags of Ontario and
Yeah.
Canada outside the field. Like, that's so cool. And congrats, Dale and family, on your World Series win. I have never cheered for a team that has won a professional championship, and so I don't know that joy, but I can see it in others and be jealous of them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, kind of happy, but mostly just angry at Dale's joy because
course.
I do not have that joy.
Right.
Like, I should be happy for him? No, not about that. Not about that at all. Also, I have been to Wrigley Field. I was there the final year, in the final month, September, before they introduced all of the new technological improvements in the stadium.
Nice.
They have since added a big video board, and those were some of the things that were missing from Wrigley all the way until 2014, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool. Like, they were the only stadium that didn't have that. I would say Wrigley ranks number 3 on my list of baseball stadiums. Next week, I'll be hitting numbers 29 and 30. We'll be going to number 31
We
together.
will. Yeah.
That's cute. And I would say number 1, Fenway in Boston. Number 2, AT&T in San Fran.
Yeah.
Number 3, Wrigley in Chicago.
Nice.
It's really cool. Like, Wrigley Field it's not downtown. Like, it's in the middle of like a regular neighborhood.
Yeah.
You're just walking. Oh, hi, baseball stadium.
Yeah.
Had the deep dish pizza, some hot dogs there. Good times.
Nice.
What was the question? I started talking about
He's
baseball.
talking about stories, and
Of course.
how do you capture stories so often?
Sorry,
and
Dale.
How do you retell them?
You got me on a baseball tangent, and I just could never come back from
Yeah.
it. Okay, so the way that I consider actually documenting stories is I do it very intentionally. Okay, you and every other human around you in existence, Dale, has something going for you. You were wired to tell stories, listen to stories, and remember stories. So it's already built into your DNA. If you're not familiar with using storytelling as an actual communication device, it can seem foreign, it can seem like new territory, but it is actually innate to each one of us. It's in us already, we just need to draw it out. So you just got to be intentional about it. And so I have an Evernote that is constantly open and ready to go. And every time a story comes to me that I think is going to be useful in the future, I put it in the Evernote. I also have on our chalk wall in the office a list of like the big stories that we tell again and again. And I actually write them on the chalkboard. They're there, visible, so I can see them. It just comes down to being intentional and then telling stories over and over again. And really, what you'll find is it's like that thing when you're buying a new car and you want to buy a black Jeep Renegade, which is the car that I most recently purchased.
Yep.
And you're like, I've never even seen one of these on the road.
And you see
And then
them
you start seeing them everywhere. It's one of those things.
Yeah,
I promise you,
for
Dale.
sure.
Once you start looking for it, and once you've seen it a couple of times in your own life, you won't be able to unsee it because it literally is everywhere. You just need to be like, Saul, have
Yeah.
the scales fall off, and then you can see it.
There you go.
Boom. So that's the way that I would recommend doing it. Have some type of system where you actually document them so that you don't forget them. Because that's what will happen. You might be born and DNA and God made you in his image and, he used story. And so we're born and bred to tell stories as well. But we're also forgetful.
Yeah.
And if you, at 6 p.m. at dinner, think of a story, get out that phone. Put it in. Just make a quick note. Evernote, the Notes app. Text it to your wife. Whatever has to happen. Text it to one of your sons and be like, son, here's a story. This is not a text. I just had to send it somewhere so that it was documented. I don't know if you do that. I use Slack now to do that, but for the longest time, I would just text Brittany like reminders to myself, and she would do the same. Half the time, she'd be like saying, hi, I love you. Half the time, she'd be like, pick up bread. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I do the same thing. Sorry to interrupt you. I do the same thing as you. You're collecting stories and telling them from your platform at Pro Church Tools. I tell stories at church. I preach at church every couple weeks, and so I have the exact same system as you. I have an open Evernote going, and I actually try and write something down every day. I'm on the lookout, and the title of my note is just the date. So whatever the date is today, 2017, and I try and write something down every day, try and look for a story every day. And Evernote's super powerful. You can search for anything. And so in the future, if I'm putting together a sermon for whatever, because I've written it down, it's already on another layer of my brain that it wouldn't have been if I didn't write it down. So I have it cataloged in there somewhere.
right, it's there.
Yeah, and then I
you
can just go
yeah.
search for it, and I have it there. So I do the exact same things you.
You think of it as your story vault.
Yeah.
Like if all you did, and that's a great tip, and I'm going to use that as the main recommendation here when it comes to like actual actionable advice, Dale, just find one story every day. Like the day at Wrigley with your kids, there was 8 stories there. You know, like just find one, write it down. In 1 month, you'll have 30 stories.
Yeah.
Like that's probably all you need at the beginning. In 1 year, you'll have 300 plus stories. Like the story vault. It's called a vault because like it's going to be deep. And so, yeah, just one story every day. And once you get in the habit of doing that, you'll have trouble just picking one every day.
Yeah. Can you believe this? We have another video question.
Another one.
Props to Pro Church Nation. Side note, send in a video question to hello@prochurchtools.com and your question gets sent immediately to the top of the queue. That's how you get on.
Yeah,
That's what these people are doing.
So that's what Nate did this week. And
Nate.
Here it is.
G'day, Brady. It's Nate here from Lanyon Valley Anglican Church in Canberra, Australia. I'm keen to run a photo competition from our Facebook page, encouraging people to take and submit a photo of our area with the hashtag #WeLoveLanyon. And I want to offer a prize. I haven't figured that out yet, but I was just looking into the different kind of third-party apps for running contests, or whether you just do it as a post and people kind of upload it in the comments and stuff like that. Just wondering if you have any advice on the best way to do that. If you got any thoughts, love to hear them. Cheers.
Well, first off, Nate, I would say that the idea that you have for this photo contest is legit. And we were just watching your video and Alex is like, oh,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah,
I love
I
it.
love that.
I think that's a great idea. Now, when it comes to actually managing the contest, so in the past, we've used a tool called Gleam.io, GLEAM.io, and we've used that to manage a contest that had like several different channels when it came to like social competition. So it'd be like one entry is a like on Facebook, one entry is a follow on Twitter. Now, Gleam does have it set up where not every single social platform will integrate with it because of the terms of service that these social platforms employ. A lot of them don't want you to use contest growth hacking because it can very easily be abused. Now, the way that you're suggesting to do it would not be an abuse of that system. But I think Instagram is one of them that says, yeah, we're not going to let you like auto integrate via API to allow a contest like this. So what can you do? Well, there are a couple of different options. The way that you said that your contest will be set up, which would basically mean all you have to do is track hashtags. There are an endless number of apps that can do that. So for instance, we track the Ask Brady hashtag for questions that are submitted, including Nate's question. And so we use a tool called Sprout Social, which I've mentioned a couple of times on the Ask Brady show. And we have a tool in there that's set up where it tracks the Ask Brady hashtag. So when someone submits a question, video or text with that hashtag, we can find it. We know where it is. So you could do something as simple as that. Sprout's probably going to be a little bit too complex for what you're trying to accomplish. Like it's like $50 a month. If all you're trying to do is track a hashtag, you could literally search within the Instagram app, or you could use, I don't know of a free tool offhand, but I imagine there's a free tool or a very, very affordable tool. You could even use a tool that has a free trial, and depending on how long your contest is running, you could use that, manage the hashtag, track it. It would give you some analytics, which would be a little bit more helpful and advanced than just searching in the Instagram Discover tab. And that way you could cancel at the end or keep it for 1 month, for instance, right? Like maybe it's $30 to run the competition because you have to pay for the tool for 1 month and then you cancel because you're not locked into a contract or something like that. Basically, all you have to do is track the images that are being submitted via that hashtag and then choose one. Now, when it comes to choosing one, you could literally just choose your favorite. You could kind of just scroll through blind and be like, this one, or you could do it a little bit more technically where you write down every single submission, put them in a hat, and then have someone draw blind that way. But basically, when it comes to managing the contest, because yours is as simple as that, it's not that difficult. And then the person has already publicly used the hashtag, so you can just send them a DM through Insta. If they're not going to allow you to DM because they're private or something like that, you could just respond to the comments and you're done, just like that. So because your contest is a little bit more like low tech, it doesn't require some crazy tool, but like I said, great idea. Go run with it and let us know how it works once you've done.
How about this?
Another one.
Another one.
4 video questions. We ran the gauntlet of video questions. Great job, Pro Church Nation.
So here's John.
John.
Hey Brady, we would like to do testimony videos as a regular part of our service, and I was curious to see where your suggestion would be to put in placement at the service. At the beginning, in the middle, towards the end. I wouldn't want to take away from the person's story being told, so I don't want it to be at the very beginning to where people are just walking in. But then again, I don't want it to not fit with a worship and sermon set if their story is something completely different from what is being taught that day. So just curious to see where you think it should be in the lineup of the service. Thanks.
Thanks for the question, John. When it comes to testimony videos, I think that the placement is going to be more important than, let's say, video announcements. We talked about video announcements placement on a recent edition of the Ask Brady Show, and we talked about before service, after service, in the middle. I think when it comes to your testimony video, you definitely want it to be not at the end, not at the beginning. You want to put it in the middle somewhere. Now, my church and I, when we've produced story videos, we have run into maybe conflicts in the past when it came to, do we want to play the story this week? Does it kind of vibe with the message or the worship? But I've also found that most stories come down to the same thing: redemption. Like, I was having a problem, I met Jesus, and now life is a little bit better. Not perfect, but better, and I'm still moving forward. Stories about redemption, testimony videos are so universal that you can almost always find a way to squeak them into a service at any point. You could use it as an actual illustration within a message. You could use it as a buffer between worship and the sermon. But at the end of the day, do your announcements have anything to do with the message or the worship? No, and they suck. And they're a huge problem because, not your announcements specifically, John, all announcements. You've got like some good momentum, and then I walk on stage and I'm like, hey, come to the men's retreat. And everyone's like, boo, boring, let's move on. A testimony video or a story video is a welcome improvement and upgrade over that.
Yeah.
And so I personally wouldn't worry too much about kind of like ruining or messing with the flow or talking about something in a story video that's slightly different than that of the message. Now, there are obvious conflicts. Like if you know you're doing like a series on eschatology, the end of the world, and how like God is going to judge us all, and then like the story video is all about how like I just found love and I know there's no judgment in Christ. Then your pastor goes on. If you've ever heard someone say there's no judgment in Christ, that person is incorrect.
Judgment is coming this week. Solar eclipse.
That's
a sign of the times.
The judgment already came. You're not even watching this. We didn't even get to publish it.
It's all over.
And so there can be conflicts, but I'm of kind of the position and the opinion that that's not likely something that's going to be a problem. With that being said, do be considerate of like an obvious conflict. And if you're part of editing and producing the video, you'll run into that during that process where you'll be aware. But when it comes to the actual position, I would definitely put it within the service because it's going to be one of those pieces that you don't get to run very often. And so you do not want anyone to miss it. Right? Like every single week, you're kicking off with a fast song. Every single week, you're delivering announcements. Every single week, for the most part, the same pastor is on stage delivering a message. But this person and the story that you've constructed, they're only going to be visible this probably one time and not again, or at least not for another year in another story video, if that does happen. And so like you want as many people to see it as possible. And so not only within the service, but make sure that you're publishing it online. Put it on Facebook, boost it, promote it, put it on Twitter, cut it up a minute or less and put it on Instagram, or cut it up into the 4 minutes that it is and run a carousel video. Swipe, swipe, swipe at the end of each minute to see the full video. Put it on YouTube. Whatever you're doing, make sure that it is visible in as many areas as it possibly can be. And so when it comes to your story video and your specific service, you're going to know where it's going to get the most visibility. And so I would position it there. Don't stress too much over if the subject matter is different. At the end of the day, like we're all talking about love God, love people, change the world. And almost everything we do falls into that. So again, in unique situations, there might be a divergence between the two mediums, messages that are completely incompatible, but I would imagine not too often.
I think it was Church on the Move who just celebrated 30 years. Was it 30 years that they just celebrated?
And they transitioned from Daddy George to Baby George.
Right. And so right around that weekend when they transitioned and they were celebrating that anniversary, I noticed on their Facebook page that for the 30 days around that time, each day they featured either a photo or sometimes a video, a testimony of somebody in the church, just talking about the church and how long they've been there or whatever. But when I think about testimony videos, like maybe if you were able to compile 5 or 10 of them and post them, consecutively for like 10 days of testimonies or something and use Facebook that way and still use them in your service, of course. But I really thought that how Church on the Move did that the 30 days prior to their anniversary, it was pretty cool.
So when your church has the resources of Church on the Move and has been around for 3 decades, you could try something like that. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Pastor.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Alex is soon to be ordained in the coming months, and so it's great having him on the Ask Brady Show to get a pastor's opinion.
And my church is nowhere the size of Church on the Move.
You're pretty close, though.
Yeah.
Like
about 30,000 behind the pace.
Wow. So you're in the negative.
No, but and I'm learning this in our own church context too, that there are stories, there are testimonies, even when, like in my church context that is small, and maybe I feel like, oh, well, everyone's just so familiar here. There isn't a story to tell. There are so many stories to tell.
Small
you just
does
gotta
not have anything to do with
yeah,
it. I
you just
agree.
have to have the opportunity and ask the questions. And even for a small church, doing something like that is really feasible.
We have a free course on YouTube called The Church Storytelling Formula. I think it's 6 or 7 lessons. If you go to youtube.com/ProChurchTools or just search Pro Church Tools in the YouTube search bar, you'll be able to track down this free course. Highly recommend you watch it. We didn't get into the specifics of actual storytelling, like the semantics, the step-by-step, all of that. The course is called The Church Storytelling Formula, and no surprise, not a surprise, we get into like actual step-by-step ways to tell stories. Stories can often seem like very like creative and artful and not entirely being able to boil down to a science, but that's categorically untrue. There's like 7 stories that anyone has ever told, and every version of a story is a version of one of those 7. And so we break down what I think is the best way for churches to tell stories. So again, it's free. Go check it out, youtube.com/ProChurchTools. With that being said, it wraps up this 30th episode of the Ask Brady Show, and we bid adieu to Alex, who will be back in his regular behind-the-scenes, invisible role.
Where it belongs, truly.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the man with the cam. Yeah, that's exactly what we want. Yeah. If you want your question answered, you can send it in via video to hello@prochurchtools.com, and that'll get you bumped up to the top of the queue, just like Dale, Oscar, John, and or Nate.
That was impressive.
I know, right? I thought halfway through I wasn't going to do it.
Especially since you started like not
it was
in the
not
right
in order.
order.
Yeah, it was not in order, but I found a way.
That was great.
So if you want your question answered as one of those 4 fine gentlemen, whether you're in front of Wrigley on the treadmill or just in your house or in your church office, whatever it is, send in your question, hello@prochurchtools.com or hashtag Ask Brady on Facebook or YouTube, Twitter, or Instagram. We will track it down and we will feature it on the Ask Brady Show. With that being said, we love you, Pro Church Nation. Go seize the 167, and we'll see you in another video.
Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one.